It's crazy, everybody. The IRS has released a new announcement for millions of taxpayers. The Biden administration is officially moving forward and taking immediate executive action on this. There will be new, huge changes coming for the people very soon. So you want to be sure to watch this entire video because you definitely don't want to miss out on the fourth stimulus check. According to a recent analysis of IRS data, although 3 in 4 people will get a tax refund from the IRS last year or this year, not all refunds are equal. Residents of certain states tend to receive bigger checks than others. The biggest tax refunds are found in Wyoming, where residents on average received $5,000 based on the most recent data available, which is from 2019. The second biggest tax refunds went to residents of Connecticut, with an average check of $4,400, while New York residents on average got around $4,000, placing the Empire State in third place. By comparison, the average US tax refund in 2019 was around $3,600. Through early April of this year, the average tax refund for the current tax season is about $3,200. The IRS said that earlier this month. And the range in tax refunds stems from differences in income. Residents of states tend to have higher average incomes and are likely to get bigger refund checks, given the size typically relies on the amount that you pay in taxes throughout the year to the IRS. For instance, people with higher incomes have more withheld from their taxes, and therefore may see bigger refund checks when tax time rolls around. Wyoming, though, has a lower median household median income than either New York or Connecticut, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Median household income in Wyoming is about $65,000, compared with about $79,000 for Connecticut residents. But Wyoming also has one of the biggest disparities in income, with a concentration of extremely wealthy residents clustered in city towns. On the other hand, residents in lower income states tend to see lower average refunds, with less money to send the IRS in each paycheck. They tend to get back less at a tax time. Maine residents receive the lowest refunds at around $2,752, while other states with lower than average refunds include Oregon, Vermont, and Iowa. Although most people receive a refund, a significant share of taxpayers end up owing the IRS. About 21% of taxpayers end up sending the tax agency a payment. The average amount owed is $5,800 according to LendingTree. As with refunds, the biggest payments by state are just tied to your income. The Massachusetts residents had the biggest payments according to LendingTree data, with an average tax bill of around $7,600. Now, the Biden administration has also announced that this week it would resume selling leases for oil and gas drilling on federal land, although a higher cost to energy companies with less available land. Shared in the report that royalties will increase from 12.5% to 18.75% of the value of any gas or oil extracted. President Biden also announced a moratorium on new drilling leases on federal land the day that he took office, but a federal judge in Louisiana blocked the moratorium in June after 13 Republican attorneys sued him. It is unclear if the plaintiffs will continue with the ongoing lawsuit after the Biden administration's announcement this week. President Biden said he's doing everything within his power to lower costs. Part of a newly urgent push to show voters he's tackling high prices on a day inflation hit its highest rate in more than 40 years. The White House has struggled to figure out how to talk about inflation. Now then, the White House officials agreed that Biden's Build Back Better legislation would actually drive down costs for basics like daycare and prescriptions. Democrats emphasized that much of the economic news is good and unemployment is down, wages are up, and crisis effects have eased.
Well, thank you very much. Mr. Carrion, in 2016, the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act, HOTMA, was signed into law. HOTMA made a number of changes to statutes that govern HUD programs, including the establishment of this minimum heating for HUD-assisted dwelling units. Residents in public housing have continued to raise concerns about the temperature of units and have at times reported using equipment such as portable space heaters or leaving ovens open to stay warm. How does New York City ensure that housing units meet these temperature requirements to comply with both federal and local laws?
So, Mr. Chairman, the Department of New York, the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development is responsible for inspecting all of the multifamily privately owned residential buildings in New York City. There are approximately 825,000 residential buildings in New York City, and approximately 212,000 of those are multifamily privately owned buildings, which is an incredible amount of real estate and an incredible amount of housing units. We have a proactive and a reactive system. On the reactive side, it's what every smart municipality does, which is you create a system where people are able to file complaints and then you respond to those complaints. We have a core of inspectors. We're budgeted for 429 inspectors in our agency. We currently have 287, so we're short of about 142 inspectors, but we're responsible for going out there and responding to, in the case of fiscal year 2021, in excess of 500,000 complaints that came in, and we issued, we did 630,000 inspections in just one fiscal year, and issued 620,000 violations, many of them heat related. But we have a 9-point system, and I want to put it into context because every time we go out, we check for health and we check for fire. We do lead, mold, carbon dioxide detectors, mice and roaches, double
Millions were not eligible for a $1,400 third stimulus check. The IRS is now saying that if you received a third stimulus check incorrectly, you also need to pay it back. The IRS could have potentially mailed third stimulus payments to people that were not eligible. However, everybody, there is one instance that might make you able to keep some money. The IRS says that if a payment was made to joint filers and one spouse is still living, the person may ask to be sent a new check for the eligible portion. And the third stimulus check was issued to most people last year as an advancement of a 2021 tax credit. According to CNN, this means that because the IRS did not have access to your 2021 information, yet when sending this payment, they likely relied on your 2020 or 2019 tax return to determine if you were eligible. As a result, taxpayers must realize that they don't actually qualify for all the money that they received for the third economic impact payment when filing the 2021 return. But fortunately, the IRS says you don't have to pay back money from the third stimulus check, even if you receive too much. In an official statement, the IRS stated if you qualified for a third payment based on a 2019 or 2020 tax return, the law doesn't require you to pay back all or part of the payment that you received, based on the information reported on your tax return. Chuck Schumer has just announced to everybody that he supports bipartisan talks on a bill aimed at lowering insulin costs for patients, and that measure could get soon passed by the Senate. Susan Collins and some Democrats are leading the talks on this, and Manchin and Democrats have previously touted a bill from the Senate. And it's going to cap out-of-pocket insulin costs at $35 per month. Susan Collins had their own bill aimed at insulin costs that they introduced in 2019.